This video is going to be a channel update and slash vlog type thingy. Also, disclaimer, because I talk about some pretty serious stuff in this video. Yeah.
What's going on YouTube? It's Balthazar3457, and if you're wondering why I haven't been making any Skyrim videos or Battlefield 3 videos or any videos at all in the past few weeks, here's why. So I'm in a hospital. Yeah. So I'm in the hospital, and apparently I've got an IV in my arm, I've got a tube coming out of my side, I got a tube coming out of my back also, which is why I'm laying sort of half on my side, half not, kind of lopsided. And basically I feel like a Chaos Space Marine. So, a look at the hospital bed that I've been staying in, and it's where I've been spending most of the time over my hospital stay, which has been a week and a half or so. Right about now is the time of me recording this. A buddy of mine was nice enough to let me borrow his video camera so that I could, you know, make some sort of an update, because I do not own a video camera personally, so yeah, I had to borrow one so that I could do something, because it is really boring being in a hospital. I have an IV in my arm, giving me some antibiotics. Oh, and let's go on a little trip. There we go. I'll probably edit the finer mechanics of this out. Okie dokie. We're going for a walk. So yeah, we're actually in a hospital, no joke. Anyway, if you've been wondering where the Skyrim videos have been, hush, you have a battery. I'll be right back. About that. But there was a bit of a delay, and me and the IV machine are going to be parting ways for a little bit. I have a new companion on my arm, for the time being, to replace the IV now. Also, I got a swanky new hospital robe. So anyway. Here is a look outside. Much prettier, don't you think? So anyway, I'm just going to talk for a minute and give this outside view as something a little bit better for you guys to look at. So, that's what's been going on for my YouTube channel lately. I can't do jack because I'm stuck in the hospital. And, yeah. There's two main reasons to this video. One's basically to update everyone on the fact that I got hospitalized, so that's why nothing's going on at the moment. And yeah, I've been stuck here for over a week. And Thanksgiving is tomorrow. A bunch of guys are gonna drop by, leave me some turkey. A whole bunch of people dropped by to see me. Some people left me some flowers, and one person even left me a balloon. But still, it can get really boring when you spend days or even weeks in a hospital, in post-op recovery. So I guess the second part of the video is really not about video games at all, which is kind of uncharacteristic for my channel, but it is something that can, I suppose, apply to everybody, considering that no one's immune to winding up in a place like this. Oh, and yeah, now you guys know what I look like, except, well, you know what I look like after I've been in the hospital for over a week, and so yeah, I probably look like crap, but whatever. So yeah, apparently my health issues were fairly serious, and me being alive right now is apparently a really big deal. And what I had was appendicitis, and what that is basically your appendix gets really inflamed and it has to be removed, and if you don't remove it, it'll kill you. The appendix burst before I got to the hospital and could get it removed, and on top of that, the current belief at the moment is that the appendix burst possibly several days before I went to the hospital, because the organ was already rotting and getting some gangrene and stuff on it, which is what happens to decomposing organs that have been dead for a while. And people are a little bit perplexed at why I'm still alive at the moment. So I've been in the hospital for a while on antibiotics and such. And the thing is, when the appendix ruptures, it sprays a whole bunch of really nasty stuff around, and usually the after effects of that kill people, which is why this is such a dangerous thing. And if the appendix bursts, to my understanding, people usually die within a few hours. I apparently survived this condition for several days, and people are, and you know, I survived it long enough for the organ to actually start decomposing while still inside my body. Amazingly enough, I'm only going to need to be here for about a week or two. Okay. So a couple of people are scratching their heads right now wondering why I'm still alive, and why I wasn't in enough pain to qualify myself as going to the emergency room before I did, since a whole lot of people usually die when going through this. And yet here I am. So one of the things we talked about is that maybe I should wear a pink shirt as a demonstration of manliness. Considering that I have survived a ruptured appendix for several days, which is a condition that is apparently very, very rare to survive for a number of hours, I think I can get away with it. So we'll see. Maybe I'll post that picture if this video gets a few likes and people want to see it. We'll see how that goes.
So to attempt to fill in the blanks for where the hospital footage left off, I've since been given a bit more clarity on the nature of my condition. What I had was a cross between gangrenous appendicitis and acute appendicitis. Now, I'm not a doctor, but I asked someone to try and translate it for me, so I should at least be able to communicate the idea across. So as it was explained to me by one of the doctors, normal appendicitis is fairly harmless, because people go into severe pain and are rushed to a hospital, and the appendix is removed, and they're fine. I'm told that normal appendicitis gives you over a 99% survival rate. But if the appendix ruptures before you get to a hospital, it becomes a different ballgame. The way it was explained to me was that when your appendix becomes so inflamed that the skin tears apart and the organ ruptures, then it sprays its contents, which is a lot of bacteria and toxins, into your abdominal cavity, which can infect a lot of stuff. Apparently, how dangerous it is depends a bit on what gets infected as a result, and you have more and more risk of more stuff being more and more infected the longer you go without treatment. Now, my appendix had ruptured, and apparently the organ died and started decomposing while still inside my body, and the surgeon who removed it told me later that it had already decomposed by the time I got to the hospital, so I technically had necrosis and gangrene. But I did try to learn as much as I could from my hospital stay. That was one of the things I did to try and occupy my time. I talked a lot to the doctors and nurses there. While I am by no means a doctor, I did learn a bit about the medical industry. So it's odd that I didn't die between the time when it ruptured and my hospitalization, which is currently believed to be approximately 4 days. At this time, there is no real explanation for how I stayed alive. I'll get to that point in a minute. Meanwhile, funny story. Remember what I was saying earlier about a pink shirt? So if we fast forward to Thanksgiving Day, I needed to return the video camera to the person I borrowed it from, because they were going out of town, and they were coming to pick up the camera in a couple of hours, but I wasn't done filming, and I was scheduled to have the tube on my side and the tube on my back removed. I had already had the one in my stomach area removed. That one was kind of funny. I woke up after the surgery to remove my appendix and looked down and I saw an open wound in my abdomen, with blood all over it and a tube going in that had been stitched into the skin. And I was like asking the nurse if it would get infected by being left open like that, and I was told probably not as long as we kept it clean. So we called a guy I knew who was really squeamish, and we had him come visit and showed it to him, and he spazzed out. That was priceless. And then I wished I had a camera, so after that I asked someone to bring me a camera. But I also had a tube in my right side and a tube in my lower back. Now, what they did was they cut a hole into my abdominal cavity and filled me up with 3 liters of sterile fluid to wash away the infected stuff from the appendix rupture. And these other tubes were basically to drain the fluid over the course of several days. So it came time to remove these tubes, but the thing is, I didn't have time to be out cold for another few hours before I had to return the camera. So I'm talking to a doctor to ask if it would be convenient to postpone my operation for a few hours, and he said there was a different option available to me. So he made me an offer. He said that if I wanted to be lucid enough to finish my recording, I could go through the operation without anesthetic or painkiller, and that way I would be lucid after it was over. I accepted that offer. At first I was perplexed that they were even allowed to make me that kind of offer, but apparently they do this sort of thing rather frequently. A doctor there told me that the most common he had seen it was for emergency C-sections, so that was new to me. So I went through the operation without any anesthetic or painkiller. That operation was fairly short, and to me it seemed fairly simple too. I passed the time talking to one of the doctor's assistants while the tubes were being removed, and it was a lot simpler a procedure than I thought it would have been. The tube surgery removal only took about 10 minutes to do, which was way shorter than the appendix removal surgery. But during that, I was talking to one of the nurses and told her about the pink shirt idea, and she said I should do it. So I did. After the operation, I had a friend get a pink shirt from Target for me, and we took pictures of me in it right after the tubes had been removed. So yeah, that's how the pink shirt came about. But the story continues, and this is the reason why it took so long for me to finally upload this video. After I got out of the hospital, the camera used to record the tape was out of town, so I had to send my tape to a Walmart and ask them to convert it into a DVD format, and it took them months to do that. Meanwhile, I was mulling it over and considering whether or not I should post the video, but unfortunately I learned that I would have some more medical issues that would be a bit more longer lasting as a result of all this. I'm not fully recovered, and because of the new problems, I probably won't be for a long time. And that mainly cuts into my free time. I have less of it now, and I'm not as sure about my schedule, so that's the reason my video uploads have been inconsistent for the past while. And the delay with Walmart is the reason that it took so long for me to upload this video in the first place. And this is also the reason I decided to actually upload the video, because there are some longer-lasting consequences, so it's still relevant to my channel's progress. So, yeah, now you know. Another thing about the same story, though, is that I've been thinking a lot about the medical industry and what I've learned about it over the past several months. I don't really know how many people subscribe to my YouTube channel actually want to hear sociological, economic, or political opinions. I mean, I did start this out as a gaming channel dedicated only to video games, but Supa and Pippa threw that out the window when I made a video about them, so I'm wondering if people here actually have a desire to hear what I think about the medical industry and how I think its flaws can be fixed, because I do think they can be fixed. So, leave a comment if you have any thoughts on that matter. Now, this isn't the whole video. The rest is going to be in part 2. I figured it was best to split the video into 2 parts since they were about separate topics, also because they run longer than 15 minutes. Anyway, this has been Balthazar3457 trying to give people an explanation on what the hell has been going on lately with my channel and why things have been the way that they have. Hopefully this video will have tackled some of the more large questions that people were having, so I'll see you next time.